Hey, I'm back. This is Goose with On With the Show. Thank you for coming back and checking us out. Today we have an interesting topic. We're going to be talking about the Hogan family drama that has been transpiring for the last week or so with Linda Hogan, Hulk Hogan, and Brooke Hogan, and Brooke's husband, Steve Oleski, and quite possibly trying to get Nick Hogan into the mix as things just keep continuing to get crazier and crazier throughout this whole drama. It is both fascinating and sad at the same time. But before we get into the topic, go down there and subscribe to the channel, hit the bell, bang, bang, bang the bell for notifications when new videos are uploaded. Give me a big like so the algorithm can pull my way. And if you have a comment at the end of all this, leave me a comment, let me know what you think. Today's coffee mug is one I got from my son. This dad is rad. He got it while he was out shopping and found it and thought, hey, I think my dad would like this. So let's get into this because this is crazy. The whole Hogan family drama is just absolutely crazy for a family that seemingly was so put together in the mid 2000s with the Hogan Knows Best in their reality show. Let's get into this. Because I want to basically start where this whole thing started, which is the video that Linda Hogan posted on her Instagram.
Okay, so I'm just home by myself today. Again, as usual, I'm okay with most things, but today something hit. I don't know what hit, but I look terrible because I've been crying. And yesterday I went to try to go have Botox and shit, and they bruised me like, I don't know. But it's been 15 or longer years since I got left Hulk Hogan, and my family is in the worst mess. Brooke doesn't talk to us. She's had twins. She got married. She didn't tell us. She had twins. She didn't tell us. She had a huge fight with Terry. I don't know how that reflected onto me, but she cut me out too. I haven't talked to her for 7 years, almost 8 years now. And God bless Nick. He's still such a good boy. I've never put a Facebook post out like this with my ugly face and my crying face, but I have to be honest about what I went through in my marriage with Terry as Hulk Hogan and what it entailed and what it has caused over the years and everything else. He's a complete liar. He is a sex addict. Yet he marches on. He marches on like, yeah, oh, I'm promoting my own beer, real American beer. Yeah, look at me. Woo! Yeah, he's such a hero, right? Not. Okay, I'm going to give him my thumbs down. I've given him more opportunities to come back and make us a family and try to, I'm sorry, it's so sad. And it's been 20 years and I'm still this sad. Somebody please explain that. I don't know. It just doesn't get better. I do love living alone. I don't ever want to be married again after him. Trust me.
All right, so that was courtesy of TMZ, and there's a lot to unpack there. Mostly because I have a hard time believing anything she's saying. Let me let's get into the headline. This is from People Magazine. Linda Hogan breaks down, says, my family is the worst mess, reveals she hasn't seen daughter Brooke in almost 8 years. I've given him more opportunities to come back and make up the family Hogan instead of Hulk Hogan and their family's fractured relationship. It's from, I think, Churn of Flam, published the 27th of March. Yeah, I have a hard time believing this, but let's get into the article. Linda Hogan, Hulk Hogan's first wife, claims her family has been fractured since she and the WWE star divorced. The former TV personality 65 alleged in her Wednesday, March 26th Instagram stories that the retired WWE star 71 is a sex addict and a liar, and that she is estranged from their daughter Brooke, 37. TMZ, Page 6, and E! News all report. It's been 15, however long years since I left Hulk Hogan, and my family is in the worst mess. The couple was married from 1983 to 2000, July 2009, when their divorce was finalized. The Hogan family rose to fame together on their VH1 reality series, Hogan Knows Best. The series aired 4 seasons from 2005 to 2007. Brooke doesn't talk to us. She had twins. She got married, and she didn't even tell us. Linda said about Brooke and Stephen Oleski, private wedding in 2022, and the birth of their twins, Oliver, Andrew, and Molly Jean, in January 2025. Linda alleged that Brooke stopped talking to her when Brooke got into a fight with her father about 8 years ago. I don't know how that reflected onto me, but she cut me up to. Linda confirmed that she still has a relationship with Nick, with her first in the WWE star, Nick Hogan, 34. He's still such a good boy. So before I get into that video, yeah, I because let's just be honest here. There's a reason why she cut you out. There's a reason why she cut you out, and we're not going to go into all of the details, because there have been some accusations going around and flying around about abuse and things that have been said, things that have been done. This has been drama that has been built up for decades. Let's just be honest. It's been built up for decades. And I remember she talks about Hulk Hogan, about how she's given him numerous chances. I don't believe that. Because I've heard stories where, Hulk Hogan, they get divorced and he comes to find out that she's spent all his money. He's broke. He doesn't have anything. He's got to sell all of his merch, his memorabilia, and he's got to sell all of his, all of his other merchandise, and he's got nothing. And he's having to go out and wrestle at the age that he has after numerous back surgeries, trying to do appearances just so that he can keep going. And let's be honest, I think Hulk Hogan has also kind of made a target of himself this last year by going out and doing the Trump rallies. Whether that's whatever side you're on, that does make him a target. And so there are people who are kind of like, I don't like Hulk Hogan because he backed Trump and all this other stuff, or I love Hulk Hogan because he backed Trump. That's neither here nor there. I don't really care. But it does kind of put more of a spotlight on him and what's going on. I just don't believe any of these tears Linda Hogan is putting out on this story. She keeps talking about how hurt she is, how hurt she was. I when doing my research, she's the only thing that she's been hurt from is the fact that I think she's continuing to try to get money from Hulk Hogan and all the different, I saw in one report where she got 70% of his businesses. 70%. That's a steep amount for a guy, who put his body on the line, night after night after night. And don't get me wrong. People can say whatever they want about professional wrestling. You get hurt. There's pain involved. I mean, a lot of these guys who wrestled for decades, they get injured pretty severely. Some of them you can't hardly walk again. And what's amazing is I think Hulk got to a point where he could have gone back and done one more match and done it carefully crafted where he doesn't get hurt. He doesn't do that anymore. He's not like some of these other wrestlers who are like, I got one last match in me. No, Hulk is done. He's like, he's going off to do his beer thing, and that's it. Speaking of Hulk, he did have a response, and this is the video I'm going to go into. He did have a response to Linda's video, and this is what I want to show you. This is from the SDN podcast.
I don't know how that reflected onto me, but she cut me out too. I haven't talked to her for 7 years, almost 8 years now. And God bless Nick. He's still such a good boy. I've never put a Facebook post out like this with my ugly face and my crying face, but I have to be honest about what I went through in my marriage with Terry as Hulk Hogan, and what it entailed and what it has caused over the years and everything else. He's a complete liar. He is a sex addict. Your face out there and know that all these horrible things are going on behind the scenes. Yet he marches on. He marches on like, yeah, oh, I'm promoting my own beer, real American beer. Yeah, look at me. Woo! Yeah, he's such a hero, right? Not. Okay, I'm going to give him my thumbs down. I've given him more opportunities to come back and make us a family and try to, I'm sorry, it's so sad.
It's just too funny. It's just him and his wife Sky Daily just sitting there eating popcorn as they're watching it's just a total troll job. Now I did see some places where people were saying that he was trolling Brooke too, and I don't believe that. I think he was just. I don't think he was trolling Brooke. I think, very honestly, he was trolling Linda with this whole thing, and it's just. I think this is the best way and the only way he could really respond to this, with a little bit of humor, because I think if he actually honestly came out and had this, this press conference and it stood in front of cameras and a microphone and basically it did all that, it would just drag on this whole drama even further into the abyss of where it's going. I think for him using a little bit of humor and it was probably the best way he could do this. And I don't believe he's trolling Brooke at all. Matter of fact, I think that I think Linda Hogan continues to dig her own hole here with this. As the next headline we get from U.S. Weekly, dated Tuesday, April 1st, just a couple days ago, from Daniel Trainer. Brooke Hogan's husband wants a man-to-man conversation with Hulk Hogan, but he won't take his calls. Brooke Hogan's husband, former NHL player Steven Oleski, has been trying to get in touch with his wife's father, Hulk Hogan, for years, but the legendary pro wrestler won't pick up the phone. As drama within the Hogan family rages on, which kicked into overdrive on Wednesday, March 26th, when Brooke's mom, Linda Hogan, claimed she was estranged from her daughter. The source exclusively told Us Weekly that Steven has been proactively trying to foster peace for years. According to the source, Oleski, 39, has directly requested a man-to-man conversation from Hulk, 71, multiple times since he began dating Brooke, who's 36. Unfortunately, that's never been in the cards, the sources said. Oleski and Brooke got secretly married in June 2022 and welcomed their twins. Since the latest chapters on the Folding Family Feud, which has seen both Oleski and Brooke respond to claims made by Hulk and Linda, 65, on social media. We haven't heard from either of them. The hurt is very, very heavy. The source added, Brooke tries to move more and more away from the letdown time and again. Go to the next headline. Brooke Hogan's husband, Steven Oleski, lashes out at Hulk, Linda Hogan, amid family feud. This was from Nicholas McIntyre, Sunday, March 30th, 2025. And it goes on to say, Brooke Hogan's husband lashed out at the in-laws, Hulk Hogan and his ex-wife Linda. He has joined in on the public back-and-forth exchanges that uncovered the inner turmoil of the divided family. The former NHL enforcer Steven Oleski defended his wife Brooke, who he married in 2022, over her mother's laughable claims amid their feud. My wife's post was not a plea for attention, sympathy, or even support, he said. On Instagram, it was simply a response to false claims that has been made about her. Oleski referenced Linda Hogan's rant on social media that her daughter hadn't spoken to her for nearly a decade, but did not mention Linda or Hulk by name in the statement. I cannot stand by and allow anyone to continue to hurt not only the most amazing person I am fortunate enough to call my wife, but also the distorted sense of power and relevance the media can sometimes grant individuals. Oleski debunked his mother-in-law's claim that Brooke Hogan broke her collarbone during a drunken fight. The claim that my wife broke Jane Doe's, gotta laugh here, Jane Doe's collarbone, because they're not gonna name her, was laughable to those who know the trust. He noted his lifelong sobriety outside having his first sip of alcohol directly out of the Stanley Cup as he celebrated with the Pittsburgh Penguins in 2016. All right, and that was from Yahoo News. So basically now you have Brooke Hogan's husband getting involved in this, basically debunking all of Linda Hogan's claims that, yeah, none of this happened. She's not a drunk. She wasn't abusive to you. You're making, and they don't even call her out by name, just Jane Doe, because I don't even think want to even give her the satisfaction of even giving the idea that Linda Hogan, this preposterous idea that this has all happened. And I think the idea that Steven wants to have a sit down with Hulk, I think he actually does, but I think Hulk is a really, really apprehensive because, well, I mean, let's be honest. If there's someone you don't want to talk to, you're not going to talk to them. It doesn't matter how many times they call you and leave message. Hey, I just want to sit down and talk. Hey, I just want to have a coffee or beer. Hey, I just want to get some things out in the air. I think Hulk Hogan is like, I don't think he knows what's coming at him, and so the best thing to do is just, no, I'm not going to do this. And yet you have Linda Hogan on the other side digging all this stuff up, like, digging bones out of a grave and saying, look what's happened to me. Don't you have any pity or sympathy for me? But you're digging up all of this past trauma for everybody. I don't, it's, there's something, because the reason I don't believe Linda Hogan is because, and looking at the video, and I've looked at the video several times, because it seems there's a term in wrestling called a work. And when it's a work, it means it's been staged. Everything is done down to the minute detail, right? So that so that nobody gets hurt or severely hurt. Everything works according to plan. The story continues to go on. The reason I don't believe Linda Hogan is because, and she talks about how she doesn't go normally on camera without, having her, her crying face and how many, just be honest with me, women, would you honestly go on camera, on social media, looking like hell, hair undone, face undone, got bruises right here she says from Botox, and they bruised me, and would you really go on camera looking like that? Or would you go get yourself made up just at least a little bit, be presentable, as the phrase says, be presentable? I mean, that's one of the reasons why I look at this and I think she's trying to look as horrible as possible to gain sympathy from this whole situation. And again, this is something that just all of a sudden just shot up out of the blue. I think that Linda Hogan is probably upset because her daughter had twins and has not even invited her into their lives. And I think there's a reason why she hasn't invited them into their lives. I think that both of her parents have created so much drama amongst each other that they're going to involve the kids and even the grandkids involved in their trauma. Let's move on because there's more to the story that is absolutely crazy. So everybody was wondering, where's Nick? Where's Nick involved in all this? Why hasn't he said anything? You know, and again, going back to Us Weekly. This, I mean, I just saw this last night from, again, Daniel Trainer, dated April 2nd, 2025, from Us Weekly, where Nick Hogan stands with his parents and sister Brooke amid bitter family drama. The exclusive. And it basically says, as Brooke Hogan and her parents Hulk and Linda continue to trade barbs, the accusations on social media, Nick Hogan finds himself between a rock and a hard place. Yep, you are. Nick, 34, the youngest child of Hulk and Linda, has refrained from directly inserting himself into the latest family drama involving his parents and his sister Brooke. He's caught in the middle, a source exclusively told Us Weekly. The source said he has pressure from a lot of different people to just kind of stay where he is. You know, just stay quiet. He has a lot to lose from a few, He has a lot to lose from a few different ends. He can't really support anybody in this situation. He's just trying to stay out of it as much as possible to make sure he's in good graces with as many people as possible. Yeah, that is the interesting part here, because Nick Hogan has just decided I'm staying out. You know, I think his stand is, I love you all, but you're all crazy. And if you involve me, it's just going to make my life even worse. And I think that is probably the reason that Brooke Hogan has like kind of separated herself from her parents. I saw a couple of different articles. If I had gotten everything and put on, we'd be here for an hour. But I don't want to be on here that long. So from what I have read on different sources, Brooke Hogan has different reasons of, you know, keeping her father out and keeping her mother out. In other words, you know, she has issues with her mother on one side, and she has issues with her father on another side. And one of the things I read was that, you know, one of Brooke's issues with Hulk is, you know, not him directly, but his wives. He was married to Jennifer McDaniel up until pretty recently. He's married Sky Daly. So he's on his third wife. And I don't know. I'm not going to get. I don't really know all the details about that, but she's pretty much just said, you know, I have my issues with my father on one side. I have my issues with my mother on another side. Brooke Hogan has come out and says that she was growing up, she was verbally and physically abused. She didn't say who or what. And again, I think that's a wise choice, because if you say who did what, that's only going to spur even more problems among the three of you. Because Linda Hogan's already come out and say, I may have spanked her once, and I was never, you know, which is really, it's defensive behavior. You know, you can always tell when someone's lying when they become very, very defensive about something. And when they become overly offensive and defensive about something, when they become overly defensive about something, you know pretty much they're lying about something. But we don't know all the details. She did, you know, Brooke has said that she was very, you know, manipulated. I mean, verbally abuse can be anywhere from yelling and screaming to being manipulated into doing things you don't want to do. And so, I mean, you know, who knows? I think Brooke is doing her best to try to keep everything as, what's the word I'm looking for here? You know, she's not going to get into the weeds and into the details of this. Excuse me. What she wants to do is just basically, she loves her parents, but she can't have them in her life. And I think that's a smart adult thing to do. I think their kids are like seeing the mess that was created by their parents and are doing their best to stay out of it. The interesting part that I wanted to point out here is because Linda brings up that Hogan was a sex addict. Which, I mean, going back to, I mean, his issues with Gawker when he, and, you know, Bubba the Love Sponge and the wife and everything there and all that craziness. Yes, Hulk Hogan has had his problems with, you know, saying things that he shouldn't have said. And let's be honest, something about Hulk Hogan has been sometimes not the most reliable narrator of his own story. There's an adage brought up by the late great Dusty Rhodes, who said, you know, don't let the truth get in the way of a good story. And I think Hulk has taken that and he's kind of like just he has exaggerated some of the stuff that he's done throughout his career and you know, who knows. He seems like that kind of guy who you sit there and you go, okay, how much of this is true and how much of this is just, you know, Hulk. So, but one of the things that was brought up was, and I can't remember the young lady's name right now, but apparently I guess Hulk Hogan had slept with one of Brooke's best friends, and oh my gosh, it caused just such controversy, and yet the gal came, I think her name was Christine, basically said that, yeah, when we slept together, his marriage was primarily over, and I think they were living in separate homes, and we just got caught up, and it happened. And so here's, you know, Linda Hogan continuing to bring that up. Well, I was able to find something that was even more interesting on Linda's part, and that is Linda Hogan engaged to 21-year-old toy boy, and ex-Hulk Hogan insists he's ecstatic. Yes, this is from the Daily Mail all the way back in 2010. Back when I think their divorce was finalized. Linda Hogan, ex-wife of wrestler Hulk Hogan, is set to wed her 21-year-old boyfriend, Charlie Hill. The 50-year-old has been dating her toy boy for 2 years now, and the unlikely pair is said to be planning to marry next summer on Linda's yacht named Alimony. Appropriate. Charlie is a year younger than Linda and Hulk's daughter, Brooke. Apparently, he was first friends with the couple's 20-year-old son, Nick. Oh, okay. And, you know, the lovebirds were spotted in downtown Los Angeles a couple of weeks ago looking relaxed and happy and thoroughly enjoying each other's company. Beyond their matching hairdos, it's hard to see what the pair has in common. Aside from a penchant for dating older women, little else is known about Charlie Hill. Yeah, I don't know where Charlie Hill is now, and I'm sure he's trying to stay as far away from this as possible. This is an old picture taken back when all this happened. You can see Linda looking straight at the camera, smiling. You're like, yeah, this is me. Thank you, paparazzi, for taking a picture of us so that I can show off my new boy toys to everybody. Yeah, I mean, you know, let's just... I don't think, you know, Linda, I don't think you have much of a leg to stand on when you've done the same thing. To accuse, you know, Hulk Hogan of cheating on you with your daughter's best friend, and then you go right out and you snag your son's best friend, you know, and apparently walking around, we're going to get married. And who knows? I don't ever remember if that ever really happened. You know, Charlie Hill is probably like looking at it, don't even involve me in this. I don't want to do this. I think he's getting as far away from this as possible. He probably saw something and just ran for the hills. No pun intended. But oh my gosh. The fact that I think that, you know, again, you know, the idea and the fact that Linda Hogan just drags all this stuff back up, trying to make other people look bad, to give herself some pity, because I haven't talked to she had twins and they got secretly married and I wasn't even at the wedding. Neither was your ex-husband either. They married in secret for a reason, because they didn't want this drama at their wedding. Again, there are people in every family, in my family, in your family, there are people we love dearly. We love, you know, but we don't want to be around them because they cause drama in our lives that we don't need. And I think that, just finishing on this, that Brooke Hogan and her son, Brooke Hogan and her husband, Stephen Oleski, I think are doing their best right now to just live their own lives away from the people that are trying to cause them problems. You know, I think Nick Hogan is doing his best right now to just not involve himself in the family drama because he knows it's going to come back and it's even going to be worse on him. And I think, you know, eventually, I think what's going to happen is, and I think Linda is going to do this. She's basically going to like try to pressure Nick and is like, "You're on my side, right? You're on my side. You believe me, huh? You." To the point where he's be like, you know, I don't need this. You know, I think they've all pretty much gone their separate ways, and I think the only person that's bringing it all back together is Linda. And again, I don't have any sympathy for people who just dig up drama and try to involve other people into their drama. And let's hope that everything kind of smooths out and goes away. Time will tell if that happens. All right, my time is up here. Thank you very much for watching On With The Show. I'm Goose Scott. If you like the video, give me a big thumbs up. Again, subscribe to the channel and bang, bang, bang the bell for notifications so you know when new videos are coming. And leave me a comment. Give me your thoughts on this because I really want to know what you think about this whole thing that has just gotten out of control. And on my next episode, I'll be going to be talking about the late great Val Kilmer and his passing and some of the things that he was one of those shining stars that I think kind of, unfortunately, I don't want to say flamed out, but he was such a great actor. And I'm really, really sad to see him go. And I'm going to be talking about him on the next episode of On With The Show. But again, thank you for watching. My name is Goose. I will see you on the other side.